welcome to Around the Book. As you can see, we got a little bit of a skeleton crew this week. Casey, Jake.
They called me in. They called me off the bench. This is what tends to happen. But
Casey, Jake, and JT couldn't make it, but we've got our honorary member of the pod, Shayne Kubas here. Welcome, Shayne. Thanks for coming on this week.
No, absolutely. Casey reached out, was like, "Listen, if it ain't you, it ain't nobody." I'm like, "All right, well, let me get on here then." So that'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll still have a good show. It'll be a quicker one this week. Not a great sports week, but hey, this is our last week before football is like officially back. So make sure you guys stay tuned for next week. Next week, we're going to get into a lot of our both college and NFL futures. So that'll be, which is what we did back in our very first episode, which was now almost a full year ago.
Yeah, number 47 this time. So this is number 47 here.
Yeah. So here we go. So we'll get into that. We'll recap from last week. We got into some golf. Got kind of hammered last week on the 3M Open. Also gave out some Olympic picks. The wrestling still coming up this week. I think that's when that starts. And then did give out a political bet on the Democratic VP pick. We should hear that this week.
Who was your pick? I didn't get to see that.
It was John Kelly.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
I'm assuming Shapiro is going to turn it down.
And yeah, I kind of hope Kelly. He does, because I don't think he's ready for that as a Pennsylvania citizen. I think that
if he has presidential ambitions, I don't think it makes sense for him to take it.
No, I think he should hold off for now. So I agree with that.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, we'll hopefully be able to check in on those for next week. But for now, we got some MLB parlays to start out with, and we'll get into some Olympic stuff here. And then we'll talk about football being back.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. So I got a great parlay I got like a 50% odds boost on DraftKings for having a 4+ leg parlay.
Okay.
So I got a doozy for tonight and tomorrow's games. So for the two late games tonight, so you got to get this in quick.
Yeah.
So we got Rockies Angels. I'm taking the over 9 runs at -102. We got some bad pitching in that game. I think starters have a combined ERA of over 9. And also these are two teams,
like that.
Yeah. And these are two teams that hit the ball well. Like, I mean, they do play barn burner type games. So I think that should easily go over. They played, I think, last night, and it was 10-7. So 9 feels really safe. More on that at the end of this parlay, but that's at -102. Then I got the other game tonight, Giants and A's. I'm taking the Giants -1.5 at +110. I'm going with the Jake strategy of just betting against the A's. It's hard to lose betting against the A's. Now, the money line really wasn't juicy enough for me.
I got -200 for that, so I was like, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
You can leave. You can keep.
The A's did beat the Giants yesterday in the first game of the series, but I mean, it's the A's, and like the Giants
on the mound for the Giants, pretty good too. Pretty good pitcher. So
yeah. So I think I like the Giants to win that game by, I think, 2 runs is very safe. At +110, that gives a big boost to our parlay. And then for tomorrow, we got Royals Tigers. Royals are a good competitive baseball team. Tigers, not so much. They're all right, but they're just not there. I like the money line a lot here at -170. I think the pitching matchup kind of favors the Royals a little bit as well. But we'll see. There's a lot of bad pitching matchups this week. Like, it's just a lot of bullpen games this weekend.
Yeah,
Right after
yeah.
the
The
deadline.
depth of pitching this year has been rough. A lot of arm injuries, a lot of guys coming up that probably wouldn't be up if it wasn't for that. Like a lot of that going on. So you're gonna see those.
But we do have a very much not a bullpen game with my next one. I got Cardinals Cubs. We got Sonny Gray and
Shota Imanaga, yeah.
Shota Imanaga. There we go. That should be a really good matchup. I think it's a little bit of a toss up. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals here just because they always play well the second half of the season. They're making that charge right now. Still need them to get it together a little bit for my 6th division winner parlay to.
Oh yeah, that's right. Hey, they added it to deadline with Fetty and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that's gonna
I
be
like
helpful.
their additions a lot.
Yeah.
And I like him at -105. Only thing I didn't like is that they traded away Tommy Edman because
Yeah, he's a really
Tommy
nice
Edman guy.
utility guy. Yeah, he's good piece.
He's like the classic Cardinals player too.
He really he's a league average hitter, plays like 12 positions, it feels like.
But he
Yeah,
does
like,
everything well. Doesn't do anything spectacular, but does
exactly.
everything really well.
Yeah, for sure.
And then finally, but they brought back Tommy Pham. So
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
there
I
is
saw
that. Not a big Tommy Pham guy, but
he's had his moments.
brought him back. Yeah. And then finally, in tomorrow's Rockies Angels game, we have another bullpen game, kinda. And I'm taking the over in that one, over 9 runs at -105 as well. I think that's going to be more. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong betting on the Rockies to give up a lot of runs this year.
Yeah, I was gonna say pretty much every Rockies game is a bullpen game, depending on the day. So
yeah, the only thing that's working against us is it's not at Coors Field.
That's the thing, right?
That's the only thing that would make it better, and their numbers are all inflated by the fact that they play it.
Yes,
in a little league stadium.
They really do. It's always been funny to me, but yeah.
But yeah, so those 5 picks together, they actually, with the odds boost, they comes out to plus 2,417.
Wow.
So $5 bet to pay out 125. So I'll take it.
Yeah, that works for sure. I have a lot of the same games in mind, so I'm doing single bets on all these games, and then also I parlay on this. So I have 4 games in general. So 2 of them are the 2 that are later tonight, right? So I have the Rockies Angels game. I have the Angels at -1.5. So I'm going to take them and score at least 2 more runs than the Rockies, kind of take them out. Plus 150 on FanDuel is what I'm using, so that's pretty good deal right there. I feel like, especially again. Angels, they're not good, but the Rockies are somehow so much worse than that. So it's like, take what you can get. Same thing with the Athletics and Giants game. I have them -1.5 and plus 104. Not quite as good odds, but you're dealing with the Athletics and the Giants team that's still trying to contend somewhat. Logan Webb on the mound, not going to probably go the A's way, so they know that. The Orioles -1.5 tomorrow. Against the Guardians. They do not have a listed starter yet because they have a lot of movement going on right now. After the trade deadline, but I'm going to trust that they can get that done. I feel like Lively with the Guardians on the mound. Like, I don't know about him right now at this point, so I'll take the -1.5 there. That's plus 142, and then the Royals -1.5 plus 100 against the Tigers as well tomorrow. So separately, pretty good odds all in that. The parlay though, plus 2,368. On those 4.
Love that
so again,
value.
Hey, yeah, I mean, all of those I feel like could go that way. The one that I'm most worried about is the Orioles one. Gardens are obviously really good, but just not sure if this is the game to take them. So I'm kind of banking on the Orioles to kind of have some of that juice from the trade deadline too. But in general, I think, especially if that one hits, I think the other 3 have a really good shot at hitting. So I feel good about all 4 of those.
Yeah, Orioles are looking good. I like them to hold on in that division. I need them.
Yeah, the Yankees are. They've been bad for a little while now, and it's like I think that they're going to turn around and be a good team by the end of the year and kind of get closer to what they were earlier in the year. But I do think the Orioles should have the stranglehold on that division, though.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I had Orioles, Guardians, and Rangers in the AL. So the Rangers are the only one that need to get it together there.
Yeah.
And then in the NL, I had Phillies, Cardinals, and Dodgers. So that's a bit. If that parlay hits, a big payout. But man, I need
Yeah.
both of those teams, both the Cardinals and Rangers, to make up a lot of games here in the last 2 months.
Yeah, Brewers are not making it easy on them. So
No, they haven't had their typical like Brewers collapse yet.
not yet, but we'll see if that comes through for you. But
Yeah.
for my Pirates, I'm not even worried about that. I just want them to stay respectable at this point.
I mean, they have a shot at a wild card spot.
They do. I'm a little concerned about how that's going to play out because I feel like with the way they are, like the skiing situation where he might need to kind of shut it down for a bit, might mess them up a little bit because they might want to rest him because he hasn't gone over what I think 130 innings is the most he's ever pitched. So I've heard that they might want to slow him down near the end of the year, which I'm like, okay, I get that, but what if you are legitimately in the wild card race with like 3 weeks to go? Are you going to shelve him? Are you going to like give him like 3 weeks off and then throw him into a playoff rotation? Like, I don't know. It's a little weird, but outside of that, it is what it is. Trade deadline was whatever. I would have liked to add a different bat than we did, but or at least another one. But what are you going to do? So
at least you're making moves to make your team better at the deadline.
Yeah, I did like the prospect swap too, like with the Red Sox. I like that York they got in infielder. I do like him. So like they did stuff, but we'll see. I'm a Pirates fan, so I expect nothing and hope for a little more than that.
Yeah, they weren't selling at the deadline.
That is true. Like they didn't sell hot on like a hot month from Rowdy Tellez. They didn't get rid of like whoever, but we'll see.
It's a good sign.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into some Olympic stuff. We got DraftKings also giving out some Olympic parlays. I have a basketball one, then we'll get into the golf because we got some really good Olympic golf coming up tomorrow. But for tomorrow's women's basketball game, the women are coming off of a big game to start off. They had a big win in their first game. Now they're playing Belgium. I assume is better. I believe they played an African team in their first game. I want to say like Sudan or South Africa.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was South Sudan. Or no, that was men's basketball. I'm sorry. I don't know why it won't give me the women's results, but no biggie. I believe it was Japan. They beat Japan. I assume Belgium's going to have a better team than Japan because I think the sport is a little bigger in Europe. But I'm still taking the U.S. women's team to absolutely throttle them. And I'm taking – it was another one where you had to take at least 4 legs.
Gotcha.
So I'm taking all overs. We're going over 70.5 over 70.5 points for Belgium, over 94.5 for the U.S. women's team, over 21.5 points for Asia Wilson, and over 9.5 for Brittany Griner.
Okay. Makes sense.
Those together parlay at plus 650.
It's not bad.
Not bad, but
yeah. Also, Casey chiming in from where he is, where we're currently. Let's go Reds as we're down 11-3. Hey, you guys sold at the deadline. It's okay. You can give up. Yeah. This is the part where you just hope for a fun game every so often down the stretch, man. This is usually where I'm at, so it could be worse. But
the Reds, what a fall for the Reds.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion that next year things could be a lot different for them. Obviously, some of the prospects coming up and some of the guys getting healthy, but yeah, it's not so great right now. If you're Casey, I don't think. Hey, maybe the 49ers will not lose the Super Bowl this year. Maybe there's something to look forward to there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. He's got the Niners and he's got Ohio State, so he's fine.
Well, that somehow that is sometimes kind of bad because this is a good question to bring up before we jump into more Olympic stuff. I have a couple Olympics things. Would you rather be a fan of a team that is so good most of the time, but they just can't quite get over the hump in your lifetime, or a team that is kind of mediocre a lot of time, but every once in a while actually is great, and you get to have a really fun ride with it. But even if you don't win at all in that sport, you at least had a fun time with it because it doesn't happen all the time. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Oh no, I would I mean, so I've like as a Cardinals fan, the heightened expectations, I like it. I like that much more than rooting for the Raiders and Flyers.
Okay, all right. Because my thing is like I do think ultimately I'd rather be the team that like is always really good, but is frustrating at times. But I do think there's a level to it, right? Because like if you look at the history of like the Vikings, for example, what a miserable fan base they have had. Like
Yeah,
just think about like how good they usually are in like historically, and have nothing to show for it essentially. Like it's really
but at
sad.
least there's still hope. You at least
Right,
have hope. Like
right.
I am convinced that I will never watch the Cardinals the Raiders or Flyers. I'm convinced I will never watch them win a championship in my lifetime. I
Gotcha.
am
Yeah.
already resigned to that, and that
That's fair.
sucks.
That does suck. Yeah. Again, like I think it's the tale of extremes, right? Like if you're a Raiders fan, yeah, that sucks much worse than being a Niners
Yeah.
fan. I definitely
Unless
don't.
Mark Davis sells the team, that's the only
Right.
way. And then
That's fair.
The Flyers are just cursed, and they're owned by people that are gonna probably continue to run things into the ground. Maybe Danny Briere is an exception.
Maybe.
Um,
Yeah.
maybe he's the savior, but I don't know.
Yeah. I get.
I'm convinced that franchise is cursed.
I get that. Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
that. Yeah. No, I just thought that was a fun conversation to have because, like, for me, like the Steelers are always good, and we have so much history that's so good. But like, it has felt for the last like almost decade where it's like, yeah, we're gonna be there, but like, do I feel good about it?
I
Not
mean
really.
but I mean, you've
It did
won
start
multiple championships
in
in
my
this.
lifetime. In my lifetime,
Yeah,
you're right. So that's why I'm saying like it's not the same as like what I was
yeah.
saying. It's kind of
That's the
in
thing.
between that, but
Yeah. No, Pittsburgh's got two very stable
we
franchises.
do.
And then they have a baseball team that's fun to go watch the games live.
This is true. Yeah, we do have a great stadium.
Exactly.
Not a great team usually to put in it, but we do have a great stadium.
But still, it's a great stadium.
It is.
It's an affordable stadium.
It is. It is
Like
very affordable.
it's like going to it's like going to a minor league game, but better.
Right, because there's another major league team
But
there.
MLB stars are coming in.
Hey, also you could catch a Paul Skeens game if you
Yeah.
right. So that's kind of like a major league versus major league team.
I mean, I got to see him. I got to see a game back when they had like Jason Bay and Xavier Nady, and that was a ton of fun.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely fun.
They're
But
fun.
anyway, yeah. Let me jump in. So I have a couple Olympic bets here. So let me just pull them up here. FanDuel's doing some specials as well, and you'll know very quickly my level of Olympic understanding. Okay. I'll take Noah Lyles and Shakari Richardson to each win gold in the 100 because I know who those people are. So that's one. That's plus 155. And then I have what is it? The sprinting sweep, USA to win gold in 100, 200, 4x100 in both men's and women's athletics plus 800. Because why not? That's the patriotic bet I'm calling it. That's the I don't know anything, but I'll pretend I do. Yeah, exactly, the America bet. That's really the two that I thought were most interesting looking at it as far as that goes. But yeah, to say I'm not exactly a big Olympics guy is the best way to put it. I just don't know enough about most of the sports, and I have so few pockets of information left to fill in my head because most of it is just filled with like stupid football stats from like 2004.
As it should
There's
be.
not enough room. Yeah, there's not enough room in here for other
It's the
stuff.
important stuff.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
So don't base anything off what I just said. So
No.
great value plus 800.
It's more important to remember Jericho Cotchery than it is to remember.
Yeah, his random 10 touchdown season with the Steelers in like 2013 or whatever year it was is more important than the Olympics right now. So yeah, but stupid Jericho Cotchery.
I was like thinking like this. That was the first 2000s random wide receiver that came to.
That's a good one. My go-to is normally Nate Washington,
Oh,
who low key had a good Titans career. Actually, it was really a pretty good Titan. That's another one I like to go to.
that's good.
Trying to think of
all
a
right,
great.
we gotta.
Yeah, let's move
Otherwise,
on.
that will be
Yeah.
a dangerous path.
That's a podcast, by the way.
That
Like,
is.
not that I need to start any more podcasts because I already have one that needs to get started that I just sent a message about today to guys. But yeah, let's move on to something else.
Before we just start naming 2000s NFL players for the next hour.
Yeah, let's not do that.
All right. Do you have anything other than? Do you have any any other non-golf Olympic bets?
No, I do not know.
All right. We'll get into the golf.
Yeah, I'm curious what you think about this because I was looking at it and I was just like, I'm gonna let Dalton tell me what he thinks about this.
So, I got my usual 3 picks. Usually I do 3 picks to finish top 20. But with this field, and the fact that it's a smaller field, there really was no value in that.
Right.
So I'm going with 3 to finish top 10.
Okay.
And I'm going with a lot of the favorites. So we're going Xander Schauffele to finish top 10 at minus 250. I think he's going to be right up there to win. Right now he thrives in big tournaments right now. And he's playing great golf. So we're going to take him. We're going to take, I feel like this is going to favor because it is a European Tour staple. I think this is going to favor some of the European golfers. So we're going to go with Tommy Fleetwood at plus 120. He's been a very strong, steady golfer lately. And then we're going to take someone who had 3.5 really good rounds at the Open the other week, Shane Lowry at plus 170. Really disappointed me the other week at the Open, but I like him to finish top 10 this week. He's had multiple top 20s at this course before. I think he should have a very safe top 10 finish. So those 3 to all finish top 10 is at plus 371. And then my overall winner for this course, reason why I like a lot of those guys too is because they're very good iron players. They're very accurate drivers, which is going to be important at this course. A lot of water at this course.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's an easier course generally, but there's a lot of water. So driving accuracy is critical.
That's gonna be important.
And that's why my pick to win is one of the more accurate players in the entire tournament, outside of Scotty Scheffler, pretty much. We're going with Colin Morikawa at plus 900. He was the bronze medalist in 2020, and I think he's bringing home the gold to the USA this year. I'm taking him at plus 900. That's what I got.
The Morikawa pick I like because I remember him being the bronze medalist in 2020. So yeah, I could see him having a good tournament.
He's gotten significantly better since then.
Yeah. So I always think Olympic golf is very interesting because it's like it really just comes down to, like you said, kind of where they're playing at and like what kind of course you're dealing with. So
yeah. And it's really like an all-star event right now. Like there's a who's who in this field.
Should be fun for the golf fans out there.
Yeah. You got anything for this?
No, that's again unfortunate. Like that's kind of all the bets I could find that seemed good for me. So
no worries. So we'll get into a little more into your field of expertise here. Something very important is happening tomorrow. Football, NFL, real NFL football. Not
if you want to call it that. If you want to call it.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm more excited about NFL preseason than I am like CFL regular season. Like, I just get excited about CFL.
I get it. I get it. Like with the preseason too, there's just so much intrigue still going on. Yeah. Like you want to see, okay, for me at least, I look at like, okay, who's going out there first?
Yeah.
outside of the guys who right? Like who's going to be the starter for most teams, right? Especially quarterback. But like, who's the second team guy? Like, who's the guy that's on the cusp of joining that starting unit if something happens, right? The pecking order for a lot of the rookies that we spend a lot of time talking about, like on the draft show and stuff, especially is interesting to me. Like, that's the type of stuff that I look for in the preseason. And like, also like the depth of teams. Like, I want to see like, okay, what is the depth of a lot of these, like, especially contenders? Like, if there's an injury, are you excited about, or are you worried about like who's going to be replacing a lot of these top players? Like, this is where you can find out a little bit about that situation, right? So preseason is definitely fun for especially freaks like myself, I would say. But in general, it is NFL football, even if it doesn't count right now. You still get to see NFL level players out in the field. And I'm one of those guys too that likes to see the third stringers go out there and just try their best, kind of see how it plays out. So
and this one's exciting for two of the reasons you mentioned. One, like a team like the Texans, we're gonna see what their depth looks like, because I do think they're gonna make a deep run. I think that was like the other day, I just got bored and like decided to like run through like what I predict is gonna happen just in my head, just because that's what I do with my free time.
Hey, don't we all?
But I think I have Houston. I think they're gonna get into the conference championship game this year. I don't know if they're gonna be able to get through the AFC, but I could see them going on a deep run this year. Just because of all the talent they're putting around CJ Stroud, who, I mean, if he continues the meteoric rise that he's been on improvement-wise, I mean, who knows what he's going to look like in year two. But yeah, I think we need to see what their depth looks like and make sure they're not going to be one of those teams that gets derailed by 3 injuries.
That's the thing with the Texans, since we're talking about them, is like you think about what they did last year, and obviously it's a whirlwind season. They have a rookie quarterback that plays at a higher level than we've seen the vast majority of rookies ever play at, right? Like, you can talk about who's had the best rookie season of all time as a quarterback. You can debate that, but he's had one of them, right? Regardless of how you look at it, right? I think the problem with them is, again, like, we've seen them be so terrible for so many years in a row now that last season is such an anomaly for them that it's hard to know like how much of it is 100% certified real, right? And I think a lot of it is. I definitely think CJ Stroud is, because, and this is where I think a lot of people, like, when you're talking about Stroud, like, the context of it matters, because statistically he was great, obviously, but like Herbert had more raw stats, and like guys like Luck and Newton had like crazy statistics. It really matters how he did it as a rookie, not just that he did, but the way he did it with anticipation that we've never seen from a rookie, in my opinion. The amount of big time throws that he was able to pull off from the pocket down the field, like the efficiency with which he did it at times too. That's the reason why I don't think there's any chance that we see like a legit sophomore slump from him. Maybe he does only like a similar level season and we don't see a jump quite yet, but that's where I think the bottom floor is for him. So you're expecting that level of play from him moving forward. Again, it's just, are they ready to make that leap, right? Because they won a playoff game last year against the Browns. Now, it was against a Browns team that for some reason can't play defense except when they're at home.
Yeah. And it was Joe Flacco, quarterback. Like, we cannot forget that. Like,
and eventually
Joe Flacco was on something special there for a little bit, but it was still way past his prime Joe Flacco.
Correct. It was just not what it was not the Browns team that was promised. Let me put it that way. With Flacco at quarterback, very fun to have him a quarterback last year. Not so much like efficient, effective, great, gonna win a playoff game.
No, but it's interesting.
It is. My biggest thing with them, I'm talking about this game especially, like, I want to see what their offensive line looks like, because they were decimated a lot last year and they made it work. Like, Stroud made it work. His ability to play extend was what he was most dinged for. It's one of the reasons why I did have him as QB2 in the class last year, because I was just worried, like, was his ceiling the same ceiling as guys like Goff, Cousins, that level of quarterback, where like they're great pocket passers, they're great at what they do, but can they evolve past that, or can they do more than that if the offensive line doesn't cooperate, right? He showed that he can do that like he did in that Georgia game, which ends up being more the norm for him than people expected it to be, right? So it's not as much of a concern as it would have been going into last year that I expected, but it's still something you have to think about because Kenyon Green has been kind of a mess since being drafted, not been a very good player. Juice Scruggs was a good center for a rookie, but like I didn't love him either, so I'm a little bit concerned about like him long term. It's really it's really Laramie Tunsil doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. And you hope that Shaq Mason as a veteran can continue to play well and that Tyus Howard can be good again as a right tackle. That's the biggest thing. That's what I'm most concerned about with the team is because I feel like there's a lot of potential weaknesses in that starting five. Yeah. But again, it wasn't a huge issue last year, and that was with a bunch of injuries. That's like,
and he now has a wide receiver. He now has a much better safety net in Stephon. Like if things do break down, he does have somebody that he can just chuck it up to that can go get it. Which, like, let's be honest, like Tank Dell's not that guy. He's not gonna go get it.
Yeah.
If he's not gonna go.
He's not a 50-50 ball guy. Yeah. No. Having him, Nico Collins, and Diggs though, one of the better meshing of skill sets in the league at receiver.
I 100% agree.
Like especially if Dell is fully healthy, if he gets back fully healthy, doesn't have any lingering issues. That trio there, and then you throw Noah Brown in there, who I just randomly had a great year for them.
Yeah,
and like I still kind of like John Mechie. He just doesn't have to play. Yeah. Like just sprinkle veteran Robert Woods in there. Why don't you too? Like why not? Like embarrassment of riches at receiver and even tight end. Like Schultz is one of those guys where like I kind of vary on how good or bad he is, but he's productive every year.
Yep.
So can't really complain about him. Like. The offense is definitely star-studded and really talented. So, but again, without getting too much in the woods on it, I do think that in this preseason game especially, I do think the Texans are deeper than the Bears.
Yeah.
In general, I think the Bears roster has gotten much more complete over the past offseason, but it's still lacking in some areas, including the depth on the team. I think that they're another full year away from like really filling out the roster if Williams hits, especially, and they are willing to do that, like to spend the money and do that to get that team in a position to like be a real playoff threat. Because I think that they're going to sneak kind of into that conversation by the end of the year, but I do think they're another year away from really contending. So to me, I would be looking at the Texans in this game, especially where you're going to see a lot of the deeper depth in the Hall of Fame game, probably less starters than any other preseason game, obviously. So I'd be leaning towards them straight up in this one.
Yeah, that's I believe what I took was Texans plus 105 because we all talked about that yesterday, or last week. That preseason's a crapshoot. Texans get plus odds. It's that simple.
Yeah, take it. Yeah, again, I just think that they just have a better second, third, fourth unit probably right now than the Bears have, and they have guys on a contending team that are really pushing for roster spots because with the Bears, they have more hope than they've had in a very long time, obviously.
Yeah.
But they are on different paths right now. Like they're not in the same trajectory. So I'm going to lean towards the team that needs their depth to prove what they can do and is fighting for more spots. So
yeah, the only way I could see like the Bears like winning this game, like definitely, is like if they decide like, hey, we're just gonna show off Caleb Williams.
That's the thing. I do wonder like how I assume I haven't looked to see if they say anything, but I assume he's going to play to some degree. So if he does, it does matter how long he plays because he could end up just kind of being out there and messing around and maybe put up a couple touchdowns and leave. So but hey, Davis Mills though.
No, he will sit out. Caleb Williams, other Bear starters will sit out. So there we go.
There you go. Yeah. So feeling even better about that. Davis Mills, hey, he won some games, right? One or two.
Oh, is he the Bears backup now?
No, Texans backup. I just mean he's probably going to play most of the snaps.
Yeah, but and that was probably the one thing on the Bears side that I was really looking forward to seeing is Caleb Williams. But
hey, we'll see him next week. I'm sure we'll see him next week. But I'll take definitely the Texans straight up in that one.
Gotcha. But assuming I don't know if you'll be around for next week, but would you want to give out any predictions for the NFL season this week? I don't know if you'll be, you know what I mean?
If you guys are doing that next week, I can definitely make sure I'm available next week because I don't think I'm doing anything that night at all that I'm aware of because I'll be staying home a lot next week. My girlfriend has a surgery she's going to be recovering from, so I'm going to be hanging out with her all week while she does that. So I won't have much else going on. So
Yeah, well, good luck. Hopefully that all goes
she'll be
well.
good. It's a routine thing with something she
Yeah,
has going on, so she's good.
gotcha. But yeah, cool. Yeah, I know NFL's your niche.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
we'll get into that next week.
I'll get it set up.
That'll
Yeah,
be
whatever you
interesting.
guys want to, whatever you guys are picking on, I'll make sure I'll have picks for it. So
Yeah, we're just gonna talk. Like it's mostly like we just like it's usually like Super Bowl, national championship,
yeah,
MVP, Heisman, maybe division winners.
there you go.
I think
Okay, we can definitely do
JT
that.
had a wild division winner parlay last year that got very close to hitting. Like he had a $1 bet on it, I think, or like a $2 bet on him at one point. Like I think DraftKings or whoever he's doing it through. In like the last couple weeks of the season, they were offering him like over $100 to like cash out because it was like one of those lottery ticket parlays.
Right. Yeah. I'm assuming he obviously had the Bucks winning the
Yeah, I
division, right?
forget what didn't hit.
I would guess based on him. I'm trying to think of who won last year. Did
It
he
might
bet
have
the
been
Bengals to win the division instead of the Ravens? Maybe.
maybe
Okay.
either that or might have been the AFC or NFC East.
Oh, okay. Because if it was the East, if he maybe was higher on the Dolphins or something, I could see that. Or
Yeah.
maybe if you took the big swing on the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, which immediately died the second that. Well, no, because if it was the last few weeks of the season, that
Yeah,
wouldn't
it
have been
was
it.
it
Yeah,
was either the Dolphins or it was like maybe
Eagles or
the
something.
Eagles.
Which that makes
Yeah,
sense
I
too.
don't know.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but all right, yeah, we can definitely do that. I'll try to make sure I hop on for that one.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Awesome. Awesome job. Glad to have you on. And yeah, quick show this week, guys, but big one next week. So
Yeah, that should
stay
be fun
tuned
next week. So.
and we'll see you next week. All right. See you.